Hey, it's Jacqueline here. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be conducting a review full day wear test on the brand new Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Concealer System from Pat McGrath. And if you have been a follower of mine, you know that I have really dark under eye circles. I do have a lot of fine lines. I do have mature skin. Yeah. There's a lot of things going on down here and I really need to cover these, friends, but in a lightweight. And I was really excited to see the claims about these products, in particularly the powder as well as the concealer. And I mean, the whole system, it just caught my attention and we're just gonna put it on the test. So let me tell you that I bought these items right here from Sephora. I went ahead and also made my purchase at Pat McGrath website that this time actually went pretty seamlessly. Anyhow, these products are available right now again at Sephora, Pat McGrath website. I also have seen the concealer on Selfridges. And as far as pricing goes, if you were to buy the set from Pat McGrath website, these three products right here will cost you $79, which is the most economic route to go per se. But you cannot buy the system or this kit right here from Sephora. In Sephora, everything is being sold individually. As far as pricing goes, the concealer is $32, the powder is $30, and the brush is $32. Now there is a second brush that is a little bit bigger than this brush right here. It's not being sold separately and I haven't seen it at Sephora's website. I have seen it as a duo set of this smaller brush plus the larger brush that it has the same shape but it's just a little bit larger. Again, as I said, on Pat McGrath's website for $64, so basically $32 each of the brushes. The concealer comes in 36 shades, which 7 are for those who have light skin tones, 7 shades for light to medium, 7 shades for medium, 7 shades for medium to deep, and then 8 shades for deep skin tones. As far as the powder goes, it comes in 3 different shades. One that is the one that I bought, which is light. Honestly, looks white on the promo pictures, even right here on the back of this packaging. So it seems to be kind of like a translucent powder. Then there is a medium powder and as well as a deep powder. Now from my Pat McGrath order, I have ordered again the same system in addition to the medium powder. Both the concealer and the powder, they are made in Italy while the brush is made in China. Let's start then with the concealer details. First of all, it is weight 5 ml. Typically in, say for example, Tarte Tape or the Huda Beauty concealer, it comes 10 ml. That's kind of like the standard that you will see even on drugstore type of concealers. Lately, it was launched the Forever Skin Correct by Dior. This corrector comes with 11 ml. So quite a bit of a difference. But in the other hand, we have other products such as, say, the Hourglass Concealer, which is right now my favorite concealer, and this one comes with 6 ml. So just 1 ml more. And then for example, Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Away Concealer, that one comes with only 4 ml. So 1 ml less than this, friend, and it costs, I think it's $36 if I'm not mistaken, or $34, something along those lines. So it's a couple dollars more than this. And then the Jeffree Star one, this also comes with 4 ml. One of the most popular concealers as of right now is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer right here, and this one comes with 15 ml, which is quite a bit, and the pricing is very reasonable. So in that regards, I mean, for being Pat McGrath and knowing how much her eyeshadow palettes come, they come with only 10 shades and they are $125. Then again, she has marketed her brand as a high-end brand and her prices are, you know, high-end. That being said, the price of the concealer, I cannot tell you that it's reasonable, but it's expected for Pat McGrath. Now, moving away from the weight, the concealer is supposed to be full coverage. It says to be radiant yet matte, so I don't get that right there, but it's supposed to be weightless as well as long wearing. Now let me go really quick into Pat McGrath's website and let's go into the section that says technology. It says right here, like the foundation, the concealer is crafted with Vita Serum Complex designed to help fight the formation of wrinkles by preserving the hydrolipidic okay. This complex boosts hydration by activating the natural production of hyaluronic acid and ceramides, elegantly improving skin texture by smoothing and blurring the appearance of fine lines and imperfections. So all these claims right here really makes me feel that this concealer could be a really good concealer for a person that has mature skin like mine. Now, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I really suggest you to go ahead and follow me on Instagram because I usually take pictures of the ingredients list and a close-up of the products as well, and I post it on my Instagram. But really quick, what I'm seeing from this concealer, it is that the first ingredient is water, then we have the methacones, but then down here there's alcohol, and it doesn't specify what type of alcohol it is. And here we go again, her foundation also contains alcohol, and there's no specification on the type of alcohol there is on the actual foundation. Neither is the concealer, and I think that's really bothersome for a person like me that I have, again, we're talking about mature skin and you're making all these claims. Well, can you let us know at least what type of alcohol it is? Because the usage of alcohol fragrances, it can be irritating and even drying for any skin type. So we'll see about these, but I wish that Pat will let us know what type of alcohol there is, and that way we will be more informed and maybe more willing to buy her products without being afraid of what type of ingredients they are in here. But anyhow, okay, let me get you closer. Ooh, right here. Yeah, I'm coming. Okay, so here it is. The packaging of the concealer is not as stunning as the one from the foundation, but yet I think it's cohesive with her brand. I think it's on point. I mean, it's not super like heavyweight, but I don't think the packaging needs to have to be bulky or be so heavy either. And it has again this kind of like cigarette type of closure right here. Very alike to the foundation packaging. And then inside you take out your cigarette. Okay, it feels weighty, and it actually feels like if it is glass. I feel it's glass. Or perhaps it could be a very heavy plastic, but no, I feel it's glass. I feel this is glass. Let's see. Yeah, it's glass. Alrighty, now let's go for the brush. Here is the packaging. Again, very nice, simplistic, clean, just very on point with her brand. Now, her complexion brushes, I had to return them. They were not good quality, and I felt honestly it was kind of like, okay, too expensive for something that is not worth it. And I was debating about this brush, but honestly I was curious because having such dark under eye circles, and well, also depending on the type of concealer, whether it's very lightweight or if it's too heavy and whatnot, but if I know that it's a concealer that doesn't have a lot of coverage, sometimes applying it with a brush, it just gives me more coverage, again, to cover these fans right here, right? Or not these friends, these enemies. And then if it's a very heavy, weight type of concealer, then I go with a sponge. It is honestly a very nice petite brush, and I really like the shape of it. In fact, I have been using a lot this Sephora number 67 brush. They don't sell it anymore online. I don't know if it's discontinued or you may be able to find it in the store. And I like it because it's very dense, and at the same time I can just, like use this kind of like triangle top right here to get in the corners of my eyes, in the inner corners. And when I saw this one, I'm like, well, this kind of is the same concept, but I like it that is small, even travel friendly for that matter. And by the way, this brush right here is synthetic. I forgotten to apply my foundation, but I got it on right now. So let's go with this concealer. Here's the wand. I think it's just like a little foot right there. And I think I haven't mentioned it, but I had purchased the shade LM10, which is light medium 10. The consistency of this concealer is kind of moussey, and it definitely has this natural matte finish. It doesn't look radiant. The last concealer that I tried, it is the new Luminous Silk Concealer. I made a review and a comparison with the Power Fabric Concealer if you want to check it out. And that right there, that is luminous. This actually kind of looks a little bit more like the Power Fabric. So as you can tell, it is brightening. Just apply a little bit more because I still see my dark circles peeking through. Honestly, the concealer is looking really good, but we still need to try the powder. I got it in the shade Light. Again, the sequins packaging. If you have ever bought something that comes in this type of packaging from Pat, you know that is messy. I don't know, I mean, as far as packaging, I like the concept. I think the concept is super nice, but if it had like a second layer of, you know, like the film, the plastic inside where the actual sequins are inside there, so when you open it up, you don't have this massive amount of sequins all over, unless you're planning to throw, you know, I don't know, a big party, New Year's type of a style, you know, and you want to reserve them for that. And look, and it gets all stuck on the actual compact, and one already flew. Okay. They are all over, but here it is, the compact. To be honest, it is very lightweight, very plasticky feeling, doesn't feel luxurious or weighty. I don't know if that's important to you or not. I mean, the price I don't think is way high up. I mean, I have powders in my collection that they had cost me $90, $100, and for those I really want something that is weighty, that is more luxurious. For the $30 mark, I really expect a high-end type of packaging. This doesn't give me that vibe, but it's nothing that it will take away from seeing, you know, the end results. Now, one of my favorite under eye powders, it is that Charlotte Tilbury one right here. I mean, that one's from compact style. As far as weight goes, this comes with 4 grams, and this one right here comes with 8 grams. I mean, we're talking about double the amount. So as you can tell, this is the light version and it's completely a stark white. Honestly, I do have a light to medium skin tone and I'm a little bit afraid to use it. It comes with a very small, tiny mirror. I mean, you can see literally just your eye right there. Very close and personal. And now looking up close to the concealer, it's just not extremely creasing, but it's just creasing just a little bit on this fine line. I have a very large fine line right here, or colored wrinkle. Yeah, so I'm just gonna tap it a little, and it is dry. The concealer is completely pretty much dry. It has this, again, moussey, creamy type of texture. It's not sliding, so I guess the alcohol, it is one of the ingredients particularly that is playing the role to drying the concealer kind of like ASAP. So let me just swatch this powder. As you can see, it's white. Let's just see it here on my hand. Ooh, it's silky. It's silky soft, and look, it disappeared. I'm gonna swatch it again right here, right? White. And now, wow. Okay, so I have cleaned the brush from Pat McGrath, so there's no residue of that concealer, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tap in the powder, and I'm gonna do it this way because that's the way that she shows it on her Instagram. Pretty sure she may use the other brush, but again, it wasn't available at Sephora, and I'm still looking forward to my Pat McGrath order to arrive home. Honestly, the powder is silky smooth, but it's not, doesn't have any radiance to it. It's brightening, you know, it doesn't leave you a white cast, but it will brighten it up a little. It doesn't give you any radiance. In fact, I feel like it's more mattifying than anything else. And I'm just using my Sephora brush right now. Definitely you can see my dark circles is still peeking through. I'm gonna apply just as I did on the other side, just a little bit more of the concealer. You can see there's just a little bit more coverage on this side due that I have the under eye setting powder. I think that's pretty much the difference. A little bit more radiance on this side, just slightly, because the setting powder again doesn't have any radiance on my point of view. So I want to mention that on the concealer I can see some overspill. I mean, every time that I open it I can feel this gloop gloop, you know, like it has a little bit of overspill. It's nothing that it bothers me a lot, but it's something to take in consideration. My Hourglass one, the same thing happens. As you can see, look, I just open it up and there you can see a lot of overspill of the concealer, a lot. Okay friends, I'm done with my makeup right here. It is 8:08 in the morning. This is the side with the setting powder. As you can tell, it has increased, but it looks a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter. You cannot see as much my dark under eye circle. This one right here is kind of more blurred out, while this one that doesn't have any setting powder, it only has the concealer on it. Although it is still not radiant, not super mattifying, it is in the natural side of things. It has crease. The concealer has set on those fine lines. You come into the understanding that, okay, the concealer does crease. It's not completely creaseless, but it's not one of those concealers that just crease like crazy. So it's just kind of like the normal, okay? Let's call it the normal. I think taking advantage of this comparison and review, we can go ahead and powder this under eye with the Charlotte Tilbury setting powder, the airbrush. This is again one of my favorite ones. That being said, let's just go ahead and tap in those creases. There's no more creasing under the eye. I'm gonna be using my Sonia G Inoshige Pro brush, and I'm just gonna tap in. And now let's appreciate both powders. Now that I'm done setting my eyes, I want to go ahead and give you some swatches of the concealer versus the Pat McGrath foundation. I have them in the same shade, which is number 10. Here's the foundation. Foundation is super liquidy, and honestly, the concealer has more of a peach undertone. Now, the suggestion from Pat McGrath, it was that if you're using, say, like me, the number 10 foundation on her line, use the number 10 concealer. And now my favorite concealer at the moment is the Hourglass Vanish Concealer. I have it in the shade Pearl. And this one is also a very full coverage type of concealer. And it also have a very peach undertone. So let me just put it on the side of the Pat McGrath one. Definitely the one from Hourglass, it's a little bit thicker in consistency. Here I have the Giorgio Armani Power Concealer in the shade number 5. This is a lot lighter weight, not as much coverage. Then let's go for the Dior Forever Skin Correct, and I have it in the shade 2WP. And I will have to say that the consistency of this Dior concealer is very much alike to the consistency of the Pat McGrath one. Now, another concealer that gives me a really nice coverage is the one from Jeffree Star, and this is in the shade C9. Now, this is more neutral tone and a little bit on the lighter weight. I would like you to appreciate the new Luminous Silk Concealer 5.25. This one is luminous. I understand from the description of Pat McGrath that the concealer is supposed to be a radiant matte. I mean, the radiant part, I don't see it. I see the brightening effect, but not the radiance to it. This one does have radiance, and I'm just gonna put it right next to the Pat McGrath one, right on this side. And it's extremely lightweight. Here is the Luminous Silk by Giorgio Armani. Definitely not as much coverage as the concealer from Pat McGrath either. A couple more concealers. Tarte Shape Tape, I have it in the shade Light Medium. Now this one is a really full coverage friend. A lot more moussey, a lot more thick. And last, Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer. I have it in the shade Sugar Biscuit. This is thick. Thick as Hourglass and as thick as Tarte Shape Tape. Now that I have it here, I'm gonna just compare the powders too. Velvet, Silk, just so beautiful. So okay, here's the swatch. Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish in the number 2 shade. Let's just try to dissipate it on my hand. It is 1:41 in the afternoon, and let me tell you that it is a hot day today, 77 degrees. For these past midday check-in, I will have to say that the concealer is not creasing. As far as the powder goes, between the Pat McGrath and the Charlotte Tilbury one, they feel very much alike to each other. I mean, there's not much of a difference in that regards. Maybe and perhaps the one from Pat McGrath, it looks just a little bit more drying than the one from Charlotte Tilbury, just a dash, but nothing that makes you look you know, like that you have like crepey type of a skin, nothing like that. Not much of a creasing anymore, but as you can tell, natural light right here is the one that tells you everything. You can see that my under eye dark circles, they're still peeking through, my friends. They are still peeking through it. I mean, you can, there's nothing to negate right there, right? It is right now 8:52 in the evening. Please do not mind these little sparkles and glitters all over my face. I have been wearing these eyeshadows for a very long time now, so things are falling down, and I'm ready to take off my makeup. As you can tell, I have lost a little bit of the coverage on the area that I applied the Charlotte Tilbury powder, while the area that I have applied the Pat McGrath under eye powder, it has remained with a little bit more coverage, and there is no further creasing or even more dryness or anything like that. I mean, it has worn very gracefully. So then, going on what I think about the concealer. To me, yes, it is a soft matte concealer. In Pat McGrath's website, it says that it has also some type of radiance. To me, that's not the case, considering that I have dry skin, mature skin, fine lines, and all that jazz. To me, it looks like just a simple soft matte. Now, when I started the application of this concealer on this area right here on my left hand side, I felt like the concealer was acting normal. I mean, if you have fine lines and wrinkles under your eyes, any product that you put on it, it will start creasing no matter what. That's why it is setting powder. Or if you don't like the use of setting powders because it emphasizes the dryness, or it just makes it look a little bit more aging, then you can just use your finger and tap it. And that's exactly what I did before applying the Charlotte Tilbury powder. Okay, so as far as the concealer goes, the finish is not my favorite finish because, again, it's soft matte. There's a solution to that. Instead of applying it with a brush, I will perhaps apply it with a beauty sponge. You can actually spray a little bit of a setting spray, a hydrating one. That moisture, it will help on the actual radiance of the concealer. Other than that, if you apply it directly and you don't decide to set it, the creasing again was minimal. It's not something that it will break the deal for this concealer. If you have normal and combination skin, I think this product will work just perfectly fine. And going into the longevity, definitely, I mean, Pat McGrath, there is a reason why she created a system, and it's just to work in conjunction together to have the best performance possible. I don't know if you see the same thing as I am seeing right here on my viewfinder and with my mirror, but what I'm seeing is that this side where I applied the Pat McGrath powder has more coverage than the one that I set it with the Charlotte Tilbury powder. I can see my under eye dark circles peeking through more in this area than this area. I mean, I cannot negate that. So I think these two, there's a reason why these two, they work well together. Now, as far as this powder goes, it is beautiful, velvety. It's just like a silk on your skin. Now, if you go to watch Pat McGrath Instagram, She applies the concealer with her brush, which I love. I love it, and the reason why I love it is because I need that extra coverage for my under eye circles. And just quickly going back to that, if I want to retain that coverage, and overall, if any person that has discoloration under the eyes or around the skin, a color corrector is the way to go. You use first a color corrector and then you go with your concealer to conceal that area. So I mean, I try to find concealers that will give me the 2-in-1, but in most cases it doesn't happen, okay? The Hourglass is the one that has done the best, along with Dermablend and Jeffree Star too. Going back to this, if you want a lighter application, definitely go with a beauty sponge, but the brush, if you need, I'm not saying more product, because as you saw, I use very little product, but if you need to keep that amount of coverage, definitely a brush will work. And this is a dense brush, but it's not way too dense. I think it's perfect. Now, using these as suggested on, again, the Instagram post of Pat McGrath and the promo post for the setting powder, if you have mature skin, if you have fine lines, I don't think so. It is too much. The powder is so beautiful that honestly, I'm sure you just need the very light amount of powder. Remember, less is more, mostly when you have mature skin, or if you don't have mature skin and you just have a lot of under eye fine lines. Less is more, otherwise it's just gonna age you and it's gonna magnify more, and it's just gonna show and emphasize things that you don't want to be emphasized. My suggestion, I do have this Wayne Goss brush. It doesn't have a number, but if you're okay at buying a brush with natural bristles, Blue Squirrel Hair, it is the one that will pick the less amount of product, and that will place it in a way that is very light, very soft, very minimal, that it will do the trick, that by having a little bit of concealer and just a little bit of powder, it will stay there throughout the day. Hopefully it makes sense, because again, less is more, mostly when you're trying to hide things and not trying to emphasize them. Another thing I didn't do today, it is I didn't apply any type of setting mist. Sometimes I like to go with this Glow Recipe Watermelon Ultrafine Mist or my Tatcha mist. I mean, I have various different mists for Sally, and that could also help on kind of like reviving that area and giving a little bit more hydration without being too dewy, but you know, just make it more skin and kind of like melting the powder. But the powder is so finely milled, so velvety. I mean, like, just when you feel it, it just feels like silk, and it also blends into nothing. Now remember that I have a light to medium skin tone. This comes in 3 different shades. I'm sure for a person that is just a little bit tanner than me, this may not be the best. It doesn't leave a white cast, but fortunately, Pat McGrath created a medium one, and I'm gonna be receiving my medium powder soon in the mail, hopefully tomorrow. But I'm happy with this powder right here, the light powder. I'm happy with it, and I'm yet curious to try the medium one. So overall, my friends, I hope the information that I'm providing you is helpful to you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. And very simple, if you like this video, do not forget to give it a like, share with your friends, family, or beauty lovers like you and me. And if you haven't done so yet, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It's very simple. Ring the post notification bell so you don't miss any of my content, and come and follow me on my Instagram to check more details about these products, close-ups, and beauty news, etc. And until the next time, I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.